The Kirk Herbstreit and Todd Blackledge. I'm Scott Van Pelt. We're excited about this portion of the program because Todd's most excited about it. It's a chance with the leaves are still in the trees, they're still green, and we're going to look in a crystal ball and tell you
still practicing.
Who's going to win the national championship. But before we get to who's going to win, give me a team that's off the radar to a degree. Maybe they're not the top 5 team, but a team that maybe isn't being penciled in as a national championship contender that you think could play for it.
Well, the SEC has dominated the national championship game the last several years, and I'm going to stay in that league and pick a team, Georgia, that I think has a chance to be outstanding this year. They've got 10 returning starters on defense. They've got a veteran quarterback, and most importantly in that league, a favorable schedule. No Alabama, no LSU, no Arkansas in the regular season. Obviously, they have to play one of those teams in an SEC championship.
You'd think, yeah.
Atlanta. But I think they've got a chance to have a great year.
Right, that's like the trifecta there between the quarterback experience and the dominating defense and a schedule that's favorable. I think, Georgia, you're right on with that one. I'm going to go a little bit further off the reservation. I'm going to say West Virginia. They leave the Big East. They go to the Big 12. Much tougher conference. But, you know, if you look at their schedule, they have Texas in Austin, but they get Oklahoma at home. And Dana Holgorsen, as we know, they could score a lot of points. I think they'll average close to 40 a game. I think their defense will keep them in most of the games. So keep an eye on West Virginia.
Geno Smith throwing at Tavon Austin, catching it, and you get the wind blowing. You get the Big Earn McCracken from Kingpin with that hairdo of his, that diabolical mind. They can score points on anybody for sure as they join the Big 12. All right, Herbie, national championship matchup and winner. Who?
I would have said LSU prior to the Tyrann Mathieu suspension. Now I think it's wide open. I think this might be a year where we don't have an SEC team in the national championship. I think Florida State's going to have the best defense in the country. Outstanding depth there from Mark Stoops. I think E.J. Manuel has the playmakers that he needs around him to have a complete team in Tallahassee. And I think they're going to have a chance to play USC. Matt Barkley and SC are going to score enough points. So I think it's USC and Florida State. I think it's Florida State beating USC to win the national championship for Jimbo Fisher.
Wow, that would be a return to promise for a Florida State team that we've been waiting on to get back to where they were. I've stalled as long as I can. It's time now, Todd, for you to tell us who meets and who wins the national championship game.
Well, I'm going to go, first of all, with Oklahoma. I think Bob Stoops' team is going to play in a very angry mood with a chip on their shoulder. I think Landry Jones will have an outstanding final season as the starting quarterback there. And I can't have a championship game without an SEC team. I think that out in the Pac-12, I think Oregon and USC are going to cancel themselves out in 2 games. And I think LSU, even though losing Matthew is a huge loss, I think they have too much talent. If Zach Mettenberger stays healthy, I think LSU still finds their way in the championship game. But I think Oklahoma wins it all.
It'll be a rematch of the 04 BCS National Championship when those 2 teams played, and LSU won it for Nick Saban.
And what's really interesting about that, we go through this exercise. Admittedly, it's early, but you name 4 teams, 4 different teams. We don't have any that match up. A couple years from now, we could have 4 teams in a playoff.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be fun. Until then, this is what we've got.